All that.
But before we talk about the opening scene and all of that, I was telling you, you said you like when they were a couple, and I was saying I really
Yeah,
like Van.
I actually like them as a couple. They gave both of them something to cling on to, and I don't want to speak too deep because we are gonna go into the first episode of season 4. But it's like as the season progresses, not only do they kind of seem to drift apart, which that's the show, but they become a little lost in their own ways. In at least in the first season, Lottie was a big part of both of their lives. As the season went on, where she left Lottie more at home and he was off with Paperboy, it seemed like she was kind of put into the background. And since they didn't really bond over Lottie, and they really gave up their, I'm not well, not necessarily gave up their affections for each other, but they kind of really moved past it. They were almost, they just didn't have it in direction.
Yeah.
And as throughout the season, she went and there was some great episodes about her when she was just doing her own thing, and him through the show, you see him change through the episodes. His personality was almost the same, but it was like what he put his attention to, and how he. I can't really explain that one, but there was definitely a shift in both of them when they gave each other up, which I thought was better when they were together.
I feel you. I feel you. I feel you. The reason why I say I kind of don't like Van is because when I first started watching the show, I described her as like 1 foot in, 1 foot out type shit. Kind of one of those people that's like, and we can say literally, for instance, she starts off in this, scene where we're introduced to her at talking to Earn. So most of the time we see her, directing most of her energy towards Earn. But no, we see her interact with some other people, but we'll get there, child. But I see her do a lot of projecting, pretty much, kind of like leaving a lot of things to be his responsibility. And it's like, if these are your standards and he's not meeting them, be responsible for your own comfort at this point. Like, how many times are you going to fuss at him about the same thing? How many times are you going to, like, for instance, with this conversation that they're having about the dream, it annoyed me that she wouldn't let him finish telling his dream. Let that man express himself.
I can see all that. I can definitely see all that.
She interrupts him to be insecure and asks about the girl and all this shit. This man try to tell you something, and then you interrupt another moment talking about, tell me you love me. Don't tell no man to tell you that he love you.
I feel, you know what? I feel you entirely on that.
But
I'm with you on that.
I do like Van as a character, though. I like the fact that Childish Gambino, if she, that particular character was also his brain baby, or whoever made that character and fleshed her out. She has a great idea for a character, because while she has like that common kind of unevolved woman thing, there's also a lot of like peculiar shit about Van that kind of makes some differences and makes her very unique.
I can feel you on that.
But she's not horrible, she's just kind of annoying. It's quite annoying.
I can feel you on that. I'm gonna let you have that one.
Peace and victory, kings and queens. It is we.
Hey, it's your boy Trey, aka the Mississippi Hippie. What's going on with y'all?
And yours truly, Queen Scarlet, Pimp Sunkiss. And whether we grace y'all together or apart, we do and we are as we wish. So keep your crowns on straight, get a good sip, dabble deep as we dish on a heap of hippie tangs. And today we are hippie tripping through the mellows and meadows of Atlanta, season 1, episode 1. Let's get it.
Right.
The show, of course, the name of the episode is called The Big Bang, and it starts with the particular aspect that has a big bang or whatever. So, Paperboy, Al, gets his shit kicked in, his motherfucking left side rearview mirror or whatever, gets kicked off by a rowdy civilian. He immediately gets out, talking that shit. I need my money. Ernest trying to be, you know what I'm saying, diffuse the situation. Darius is being weird, of course.
Yeah.
But also pointing out some things that I'm gonna point out also. What the dude is talking real sleazy. Al gets trigger happy. Everybody gets trigger happy. Child, I'm watching this for like the 10th time and didn't even notice that Ern had pulled out a gun. He didn't pull it on nobody, but he pulled out a gun himself. I'm like, wait, where'd that come from?
Yeah, I didn't realize it the first time I had watched it either. So this episode called Big Bang.
Yeah.
So, like she was saying, yeah, there is called Big Bang because there is a Big Bang, literally, that happens. And at this point in time, Al does pull out his gun, and it comes to a Big Bang, and he shoots the guy over a confrontation over a broken mirror. I actually feel like that is a pretty accurate representation of how people act. And let me explain that.
Mm-hmm.
Not necessarily how maybe the general, but maybe you say, I don't act like that. But someone got shot. Did the dude die? Do we know yet? At this point, do we know?
I mean, I've watched the second episode recently, and throughout the rest of the episodes, they don't ever say whether he lived or died. But I feel like that's why they got off, because they never filmed the dude. I don't know if he just went low key type shit. And we'll revisit that conversation too when we get to the end. But I personally don't think that he died, but it's kind of left open ended as to did old boy die or not.
Well, whether he died or not, we can all agree that it's a pretty stupid reason to shoot somebody over. The conversation started off over a broken side mirror, but he really got upset when it was revealed that he was Paperboy. He's supposed to be the celebrity, and then the dude instantly started trash talking his album, which kind of hurt his ego. And that gave him what do you call mucky?
He was talking about his song Muckin'.
Muckin', yeah.
Nostalgia, fucking.
Is that what it is?
Yes.
Whoa!
Muckin'.
I didn't know that.
That song, of course, I ain't ever heard the song, but that part lives right in my head.
Okay, so mucking. He's talking about mucking. Okay. And he instantly goes in and starts trash talking his EP. And since Paperboy got his ego hurt, Al got his little ego hurt because you know who I am, but you want to talk down about me. I'm gonna pull a gun out you to prove that to ultimately shut you up, which is stupid. And it's great that a lot of people they allow words to give them a reason to do something like that. Mm-hmm. In which case, it's never okay. Nothing anyone should say. And I know this may trigger a lot of people, but I feel words may be a reason to throw hands, depending on what was said. Depending on the situation, not every time. However, I don't think there's nothing that's said, nothing that comes out of anyone's mouth should ever be reason enough to provoke someone to shoot somebody. Mm-hmm. Unless it was something like, "Oh, I killed your child," or
a confession,
right? Like a confession, but something just trying to hurt your feelings. And that's ultimately what happened with him. He couldn't check himself.
And to piggyback off of that, honestly, I feel like in actuality, it's been normalized to abuse our ability to physically defend ourselves. Mm-hmm. Because in actuality, like there are things that can be said and done outside of somebody putting their hands on you that'll make you want to slap the shit out of them. You know what I'm saying? They say the right thing, or you know what I'm saying, touch your stuff and you done had a bad day, whatever. That's totally understandable that, it's certain shit that'll make you want to put your hands on somebody. But in actuality, you really don't have to get violent unless somebody is being violent with you. Like, because you have to physically defend yourself. Otherwise, you just functioning out of ego and you looking for a reason to lash out. Literally,
Absolutely.
Like you just said, you looking for something to have a justification to act the fool violently.
Absolutely.
And that's definitely what it was giving. And did you have anything else to say on that particular subject?
Not really. As far as where we are, not really. I'm done. But finish off.
Okay, so I'm glad you pointed out the part about Al not pulling out the gun until his ego was affected. I'm now wondering also why why Ern felt like pulling out another gun was going. I don't know what he thought he was doing when he was like,
right.
"What you doing? What you doing?"
Right.
That's what he said too. He said,
Really
what you doing? What are you doing?" But you also have Darius completely
oblivious.
And I don't even think really oblivious. I think on the surface he was seem oblivious, but here's why I feel like he wasn't oblivious. He was just abnormally calm.
Explain that one.
And he wasn't necessarily trying to interfere or stop anything. He was like, very, it is what it is, but da da da. So this is why I feel like he wasn't lost in the sauce. He was very much so in the moment, because you see him say, for one, I know he says this is deja vu. I have another theory on that. But he turns around, he said, "Is the Texas dog here?" And it's a dog off to the side that has Texas, the state, the shape of the state, shaved on him. And so from jump, my first mind goes to Texas gun laws. And here we have 2-3 guns. The old boy talking about his people over there, so we know they got guns. And so it's also like, all you niggas got guns, but these guns come from another, you know what I'm saying, bang, 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 Texas dog, gun laws. Also, in me doing research, I find that, for one, there is an Atlanta, Texas, that's named after Atlanta, Georgia. And I believe it was discovered, if I'm remembering my research correctly, it was founded and officiated during a kind of great migration of white slave owners moving to Texas with their slaves.
Really?
And so they named it for Atlanta, Georgia. But I say all of that to say that this is kind of igniting a commentary similar to an episode that just aired recently on the season that's playing now. But I see him opening the conversation about gun laws, but specifically on the violence standpoint, but also the laws in general, because all these random people, y'all just got freaking guns. And so, yeah, I said all that to say Darius pointing out that dog is not a coincidence.
That's very interesting, because I wouldn't have caught that. I didn't catch that.
And another conversation I see being ignited there, well, somewhat foreshadowed, because there's another episode where Darius goes to a gun range and his target practice paper has a dog on it. And
I remember that.
Yeah, they gave him such a hard time, and then the shop owner comes in there and is like, "You finna start no shit today."
I remember that, and they was acting like it was so crazy when he brought up the point. Didn't he bring up the point in the episode, like, y'all are shooting people? What's wrong about me shooting a dog? Like, you valuing animals over human lives. And I don't know if this point was put into it, but I know I've seen it somewhere, heard it somewhere. The people were all, since they were silhouettes, they were all painted black. And so they were essentially shooting at black people, and they had no problem with it. But when it came to a dog, it was like, no, wow.
Well, long story short, on that, you know, Ern and his MLK attempt didn't really work, and Al ends up shooting old boy. You know, they pan up, you see the power, whatever, and that's all she wrote as far as that was concerned. And we pop up with Van and Ern in the bed. He playing that OJ the Juice Man.
OJ, oh, we ain't got that yet.
He didn't already. Yeah, yes, we did. We just watched it.
Oh,
he was listening to that in his. They played it as like a part of the soundtrack, but he was actually listening to it in his earphones. And he wakes up talking about a dream that he had.
Yeah, you're right.
Keep that in mind about Ern having this thing where he has dreams and nightmares. And that's a song reference. I'm gonna point out another song reference too. With this being said, song reference: "Dreams and Nightmares" by Meek Mill. Okay, I have been noticing different hip hop song references that he just kind of ends up throwing in the midst of the story just by happenstance. Like, for instance, when they're standing outside before Alfred shoots the old boy, you hear somebody yelling "World Star." Now, of course, WorldStarHipHop.com, all the crazy shit that be going on, da da da. But Childish Gambino actually has a song on one of his earlier projects called "World Star," and I'm gonna save it for when we do episode 1, season 4. But Childish Gambino has some other songs that have just like very small lyrics that pop back up in the storylines and in the dialogue of the show. So yeah, just throwing that out there. But yeah, he's talking about he had a nightmare, he's swimming in all of that. seaweeds that's hands. A girl told him you gotta swim above them or they're gonna pull you down, all this and that type shit. And Van interrupts him so that she can ask about the girl in his dream. I'm like, girl, let him finish his dream. Let him express himself, you know what I'm talking about? Like, damn, I wanted to know what the dream was about.
You know, when he was explaining his dream or talking about his dream, one thing that I actually, the first thought that came to my head, you know, a lot of times people, they come up with dreams for like movies and TV shows and things of that nature. They sound a little, when most people do dreams in like movies and television shows, they seem like a Hollywood version of a dream. They seem like something that was made to sound crazy. His dream was believable to be a dream. I wonder if that was an actual dream of his, because the whole concept of him swimming in an ocean and where the seaweed was hands that were trying to drag him down, something that was trying to drown him and kill him. You know, and some girl was telling him to swim over the seaweeds or they'll pull you down. Like, that sounds like it could have been a real dream. That sounds like real internalization of someone who's struggling to keep their mentality stable. Someone who's struggling to, you know, keep, you know, quote unquote, keep it above the water, stay above the waters, you know, in their regular life. Because it's easy to see the similarities between the seaweed hands bring you down versus when you're in life, and life itself in general is bringing you down, whether it be from work, whether it be friends, not a lot of times finances. Finances is a killer. You know, a lot of depression.
Which is indeed what we see on the surface of him.
Yes. A good, a major point of Atlanta throughout the series, you know, as Al gains popularity, it really starts off with Earn. You know, you really see how deep in debt he kind of is, and not necessarily just in debt, but just how low on cash, how low on funds he is. And I say money buys happiness, but I think it's very unanimously, easily to be agreed upon that, you know, the poorer you are, the harder life is. That's just, I mean, so, you know, with him trying to stay above the water, you know, he didn't necessarily say it was finances or say that it was relationship or say it was, you know, family or anything of that nature. But you do see in this, just that opening scene right there, where he's sleeping with his woman. They have a kid together. They're waking up next to each other and kissing and being lovey-dovey. And then she say, "Oh, I'm going on a date with somebody." That can kind of crush a nigga. Like, and he seemed to take it well. He was like, "Mommy's going on a date with a corny guy or something like that." But that could play a point in why he was feeling all these emotions that caused him to have such a dream where he felt like he was drowning or he was trying to be pulled down to drown. I mean, can you imagine if you woke up next to your boyfriend, or next to a guy that you love? I ain't gonna say next to your boyfriend, but next to a guy and that you love, and y'all wake up and you kiss and y'all laughing and he's giving you a hug and y'all share a smile and y'all joke around and you get up brushing your teeth and he hugs you and stuff, and then, you know, you ask him, "So what are you doing later on?" And he said, "Oh, I got a date with some girl."
Okay.
Like, what?
Before you go on that date, pack your shit. Take it with you. You gotta go.
And before he tells you this, he said, "Oh, if you want to stay here, if you plan on staying here, that's cool. You know, just help me out with rent. You know, can you take care of our daughter or stuff like that? Stuff that couples would do." And then say, "Oh, you know, basically saying I'm just using you for the moment," which is a big issue in today's climate. You know, when people come to the realization that you don't have to be used. You know, the early generation is how they were, you know, kind of grew up and were raised, and how they kind of did things was kind of based off of, they were just a product of their environments, and they were kind of forced into boxes. And not saying that we aren't still today forced in boxes, but we can see the issue. They back in the day, they just kind of accepted it to a degree. I'm not gonna say 100%, but a lot of people kind of accepted what it was, and it is what it is. And now we can see it, and you know, we're just looking for a different option. So I just think that whole thing was interesting, just from the dream to his whole relationship with what's her name?
Van.
With Van, yes, his whole relationship with Van. I think it was a lot of correlation with it, which I could be wrong, but I do think a lot of his dream was based off of his finances. But a big part of that was dealing with his relationship with Van, the mother of his daughter.
I think also, in which, of course, we're watching this episode after already having like going through the other seasons and the episodes of the season that's playing now, and so it's like looking back at it, I also see the dream, and even just in this episode alone, but it's a conversation he has with the therapist on episode 2 of season 4, and I feel like that was kind of like a foreshadowing of that conversation a little bit that he has with the therapist. Just to, you know, not get too deep into that right now, save that for when, you know what I'm saying, we do that episode. But what I also see with the whole the whole like outline of the dream, because I definitely agree with you saying like how they did the dream, and it does seem like something that he probably dreamt of like for real, because I see it paralleling with how Earn kind of allows people in his life to pull him into shit.
Oh yeah.
Where he can clearly see when a situation is not about to go well, when it's not the right decision, when he really should go right instead of left. But he will let the people around him either make him guilty by association or literally talk him into doing some shit that he knows goes against his morals and values type shit. And I low-key felt like the girl that was in his dream was Van.
You know what? Probably was, or some sort of form of her.
Yeah, like a symbol of Van, because Van does, even though Van kind of has that thing too, because she allows Earn to kind of tug and pull her type shit. Like, for instance, I feel like, you know, she made the final decision, because just speaking like as a girl, the guy that Van was going out with that night, she probably had been leading him on for a while. She probably had done told him that she would go out with him a many a days and stood him up. But that particular morning when she said to Earn, "Tell me you love me," and he didn't say it, like, she was in a state of looking for a reason to step on his ass. And she was looking for it in that dream. The reason why she kept interrupting him and wanted to ask about the girl and all of that shit, she was looking for it in the dream. She didn't find it there. So she chose to find it with "Tell me you love me." He didn't say it. Okay, nigga, I'm going on a date. I'm gonna go ahead and go with this nigga tonight. Okay. Now what? Like, that's what that was giving me. And interesting what you said about you know, the difference in generations, because I did, and while I feel like in the past generations too, I feel like there still was a disconnect on certain love and affection fronts, because a lot of it was like a means to an end type shit. Like you said, they were kind of forced into a box. They had to accept a lot of societal norms, whereas now we have options, and I feel like that's what they're showing. Now we have so many options. Let's see what these characters in this environment does with these options. And as it gets to their kid, also, Lottie, that is a big ass baby. Like, that is a tall baby. That baby had long legs. Child.
You lost me. What's the size have to do with it?
It just stands out to me. But I did find something that was interesting, because the name Lottie means what it mean? I just looked it up again so I can have it on what's the name? Little and womanly. That is a baby, bro, and she's so freaking tall.
Little and womanly.
Yes. So that's a big ass baby. But him talking about yeah, this is a great environment for you. I'm talking about the script is everything, because when I first watched episode 1 and it got to that part when she said that, I was like, damn, y'all doing all this, talking about all this in front of the baby, damn. And he said, yeah, it was a great environment for you.
Right.
I'm like, come on, self-awareness. But just to wrap up that scene, some other things that I picked up on, I wonder if Earn had cheated on Van before. Like, a lot of people want to know how they met. I want to know why they broke up the last time that they broke up, that put them in this complicated state. Because her kind of being insecure like that, while I think, you know, in any situation, if you got insecurities, it was there before. It just took that moment to bring it out. But even with that being said, that moment that brings it out can also emphasize and add to it. And that's what I wonder. How has Earn added to her insecurities? What has he done for her to be so like, I don't want to let him go, but I kind of hate this nigga also at the same time? It's something he's done. And it's interesting that, I mean, maybe they have shown it and we just haven't, like, acknowledged it. And I'm going to put a pin in that so we can go through the rest and we'll see if we point it out.
Right. I did. All right. There's a lot to kind of go through from there. My first point that I want to hit, and I know there was, we had, they started off with, it was the airport, but I want to skip that. So there wasn't really much in there that I really care for. Well, first point that I want to hit is when he goes to his parents and the interaction with him and his parents. You know, I feel two type of ways about it. I'm for it and against it. For, I'm gonna explain what reason why. Because when he got to his parents' house, the dad met him at the door. Like, and he was instantly on the defense, both arms up on the door frame to make sure that this boy was not getting in. You know, now his demeanor was, "Hey son, what you need. You know, it was kind of like that. It wasn't necessarily like get on away from me, but in a way it was get on away from me. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So you know, a lot of times with parents and their explanation of everything. Every time he comes around, he's always asking for money. He needs something from them. He's mooching off of them to a degree. I'm not sure how old he's supposed to be depicted in this. You know how old he's supposed to be?
I don't know.
I don't think they really ever go.
I think Earn maybe some years younger than
Al.
Al, because Earn had just like took some time out from college, so Earn has to be no more than knocking on 25. I feel like at least in the first season.
Okay. And you're right about that because there was a mention of how they get a break from school.
Mm-hmm.
So, and which
And
I would
he
assume.
said, a year turning to 3 years. So yeah, somewhere in the mid 20s area for Earn at least.
Okay. Which he can admit his parents. It goes to.
I'm not doing that.
Whew. All right, back. The interaction with him and his parents. So a lot of times with parents, they said I'm for and against it. A lot of times with parents, you know, they give and they give and they give for their children.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why I'm for and against it is because the threshold of where get away from me, get on somewhere, it varies. And so like some parents, not saying that you know you should take anything from your child. You should take you should let them stay at your house until they you know until they never want to leave, or you should give them money every time they ask for it, no matter how old they are. Not saying that, but a lot of times what we see in especially like the black community, it could be for white people too, but I'm not white, so I can't speak personally for it. But a lot of times black community, they hit this thing like when you 18, you gotta go, which I think it's either you gotta go or you gotta start paying me rent, which I am so against. I am so against. And there could be personal reasons. I did stay at my parents' house for quite a while after I was 18. However, I was in school. I had a full-time job. It allowed me to buy this house. It allowed me to get my credit to right around 800. So I was able to do things with those extra benefits of my parents allowing me to stay at home. I don't know the full situation. I don't think it was ever explained the full situation, the backstory, what led up to this. But you can clearly see his parents, they weren't having it. You know, which is once again I'm against the whole interaction and for it because at some point you do have to, you know, as a parent, I feel you do have to at some point if you see your child is abusing your hospitality, abusing their privilege as being your child, sometimes you gotta tell them get on.
Yeah,
that is true. It's up to you as the parent in your relationship and your situation because it's different for everybody to decide where that is. I feel like just me personally, this ain't based off of really much anything. I feel like it was kind of a little bit. I think because you can already tell based off this, he's staying and not even his girlfriend because she's dating other dudes. He's staying with somebody else. It is said a little later on, like he's basically homeless and things like that. I feel like Ern was a big moocher. I feel like he kind of wanted things in life to happen for him, and he didn't really. I'm not gonna say he didn't work because things happen and people's emotions change, and you can be super motivated for something, but after a roadblock, it'll dull you down. And I see, he took the time off from school, so it could be that a lot happened to him that caused him to go to this. But with his parents acting like that, I really feel like he gave up really easy on things.
Yeah, and honestly, that's where I feel like you said, there are pros and cons to that approach. Like too much of anything is not good. So that's why I feel like you said, with the whole like once you turn 18, you gotta get out. Or once you turn 21, you gotta pay rent, or you gotta da da da. And it's like they were just in high school last week.
Right.
The frontal lobe is not fully developed. like what you think is actually going on. And I feel like too, people who, and sometimes, a lot of times, people will have kids, people are playing their kids, and like, oh yes, I really want a baby, I really want kids, I really want to do da da da, and then they get in that position, and it's not, what it was cracked up to be. It's more than what they bargained for, and they like, whoo, I can't wait till you turn 18, so I can kick you the fuck up out of here, and that's exactly what it gives, and it's like, but yeah, it is like, what do you expect to get back when you invest in such a way? Like, no matter how your kids turn out, and I think that's something that we are learning from, watching other people's experiences, but something that's kind of being learned more on a universal standpoint, that to really, 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 really consider a whole bunch of other things when it comes to having a kid, including the fact that no matter how that kid turns out, it's your fault.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, they're their own individual. They have to take responsibility and accountability for, themselves. When they get to certain ages, it levels up. But however they turn out still goes back to the parent, because you set the foundation. You had to pour into them what you want back. And definitely what I got off of seeing that first interaction is that his parents give off that vibe of that constant nitpicking. Oh, it's just a joke, you sensitive, stop acting like that. I'm gonna call you stupid in order to teach you something. I'm gonna talk down to you in order to get my point across, and da da da. And it's like, you want your kid to know that they are supported by you, but you don't say it to them. You don't give them that energy when they in your face. And a lot of parents, and which is the kind of vibe that I get off them, a lot of parents will give that energy only when company is around. Oh, my baby, they got all this, they did this, they did that, da, 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 da. But then when it's just you and your kid, it's not that same energy. It's, oh, all you do is leave shit in the toilet. All you do is eat, sleep, and shit. Every time I come in the kitchen, you in the kitchen. Da, da, da. It's all this bogusness. Yep. Which also kind of gives me, which in the fourth season, the one that's going on now, they talk about what happened at Princeton. And I'm going to save that for then. But what I will say is that it kind of gives me, his parents were like bucked up off him getting accepted into Princeton and all of this and that. And then when whatever happened, instead of them checking in with him, like, yeah, y'all probably gave him money and this and that, but did you check in on his mental health? Did you check in on how being exiled from the school, or taking the, like, if he felt the need to take a break, what happened? Why did he feel the need to take a break? Did you tap into him on that standpoint, or were you just so caught up in your feelings and your embarrassment on, oh, my son's not in Princeton no more, oh, he's a failure, da 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 da. No, maybe he's depressed, maybe he's traumatized.
Right.
You talking about money and
that actually, and I guess I can't drop into it too much because that is dealing with the other season, but I'm glad that you brought that up, because when you're looking at how it opened and how Al was kind of, it was really mean. It was really like, oh, how's that, that break from Princeton? It makes you wonder, did he know about what happened from Princeton? In which case, if he didn't know, and it's already obvious they probably weren't super close from episode 1, but like you said, did anyone check with him to see how his mental state was? Because when you know why he left Princeton and what transpired with that one, then I can you know what? Yeah, he may have actually had a little PTSD, a little bit from what happened. But that's another story.
You actually know, what it was that happened, and I'm sure people who watch Atlanta have been watching, But just for the sake of this video, but I don't think Al told him, because I don't think Ern told him, because when Al said that, he was like, how's that break from Princeton? Your show turned into 3 years. Oh, I'm sure I know what happened. And Ern was like, no, really, you don't. And so what Al was kind of giving to me was like, they were close enough at one point for him to be able to tell something is off with him.
Yeah.
Something, like, he is actually functioning with him in a way that is both holding him accountable for being absent, but also trying to tap into him like, hey, what's going on? Hey, talk to me about da 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 da. Like, because I feel like him asking, how's that break? So it turned into 3 years. Like, he's saying it like, yeah, those words in particular, he's not asking him straight up, so it can't come off his shade. But the tone in which he asked him, and then them being men, of course, he's asking him like, hey, talk to me. I noticed something off. And then all of a sudden you hear type shit, what's going on? Like, you're not yourself. Talk to me type shit. Feel. But he kind of just shut him down. Like, no, really, you don't. And with that, like, he kind of just took the subject elsewhere. Da 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 da. But Ern went to his parents' house looking for Al in order for us to get to that moment. He went there actually looking for Al because at the airport, his coworker, brought to his attention, Paperboy, this song been popping, da da da, and that gives us indication that him and Al have not talked in so long, they haven't been close in so long. He didn't even know that his rap name was Paperboy, or that he was even taking it serious and doing it at the moment. So he immediately leaves there, goes to his parents' house to ask about Al's whereabouts, and his daddy ends up telling him, he's staying over in Glen Park. I think that's what he said, Glen Park Apartments. And speaking of the whole mental health thing, when they get into that conversation out in the yard, when they smoking a blunt or whatever, you hear Al say, I ain't heard from you since my mama passed away, and now you come in talking about let's get rich. When Al is in there like just playing a game and shit like that, I'm also overall getting a thing off of Al that he's having his own mental health issues, his own trauma going on with the grief of his mama. Like, for instance, he's just sitting there like, yeah, motherfuckers play video games, but the lifelessness in his eyes as he's playing the video games, just like,
Yeah, I picked up on that too. It was just whether he was high or whatever was going on with it. You can tell somewhere, maybe not fully, but somewhere mentally, he was kind of checked out.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
And why is he so trigger happy right
Question
now?
is this is this is before? Okay, never mind. I answer my own self.
But you know, usually he answered the door with the gun out. Like,
Oh yeah,
what's going on, Pimpin?
yeah.
But yeah, oh, something else. I just see another theme of options with this. Um, After Ern discovers his whereabouts, he goes over. We meet Darius. Darius is baking cookies. This southern conversation that comes up with Darius and Al. Darius want to know, is the milk good? And Al says, "What was you trying to do with it?" Anywhere else, there probably would have been a simple yes or no. But in the South, you know what you're trying to do with it.
If you're trying to use some cornbread, you can use that doggone milk. But
trying to make some more cookies?
Shoot, you trying to drink it? Nah, leave it alone.
Don't drink that. So, also we get Darius that they out in the yard having a business conversation or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Ernest dropping knowledge. He's telling him, basically he wants to be Al's manager. And he's telling him basically the best ways to brand and market himself. You need to cut all these skits off of your EP, off of your project. It's just taking up too much time. It's gonna be expensive to produce and distribute. You're not like young, you're not selling sex, you're not light skinned, you're not white, whatever, what have you. It'll be difficult to market you. You need somebody that is like not gonna take no for an answer, that knows how to basically flex your stereotype in all the right ways, get this money or whatever. So another thing about options that pops up to me as a theme in this episode is in that conversation, Aaron turns down the weed offered to him, and Darius was like, "You can't do business and get high, but you want to manage a rapper." And what's the name? He then says VH1 is hiring interns. So while I feel like that's his way of throwing in like pop culture, what's going on in society now, I feel like this is another instance where Darius seems like he's not here, but he really is here. He presented another option to Earn. That was kind of his shady way of saying, I don't know if you cracked up for this. You need to go over to VH1.
I can see that one.
And also, like I said, options. And this is where it kind of gets into the red flags about Earn. Like I said, he has a tendency to be very intuitive and know better, but he lets people drag him into other shit. So Darius presented him other options. You also see that he had some type of job at the airport, getting people to sign up for excursions, package deals, whatever, what have you. He had jobs lined up. He made that decision to still go and be Al's manager or whatever. And for the most part, we've seen that turn out great on the monetary sense as the season goes on. But are they truly happy?
Which is a big theme in the show, because you do see as they go on, even though they're all gaining success outside of Darius, because he's kind of an anomaly. But as everyone is seemingly gaining success in their own avenues, you don't really see them get happier at all. Earn doesn't seem to get happier at all. He seems to become more conflicted with the more success he has. Al definitely doesn't seem to become happier. It seems like he's still grabbing on left and right, to trying to make himself bigger.
Like an identity.
Yeah, and Van definitely does not seem to get happier. She seems to completely lose herself, and that kind of brings us to that first conversation I said. Together they at least had something kind of anchor themselves to, but when they were apart, as they all gained success, he went one direction. He kind of threw himself into his work, Earn did, and into other ventures and things, and Van really kind of went left. But aside from that, I do want to go back to where you said where you came up where Al, he kind of upsetly tells Earn, I hadn't seen you since my mom died, and now first thing that comes out of your mouth, let's get this money, let's get rich. Which I don't want y'all. Well, I do want y'all to understand. A lot of people, including your family, are opportunists. They'll do that, and not necessarily saying they'll be as dramatic as they won't speak to you since your mom died or anything like that. But you have a lot of people who you may have known your whole life. That may be your friend, that may be your family member, and not necessarily that your relationships are bad, but the relationships are definitely lacking. And the second something starts to go in your favor, everybody wants to kind of come out grappling. The second you get some money, hey, what's happening? I need some money. The second we're in that age right now where social media is a really big thing. Not necessarily just for people's self-esteem and egos, but social media is money. That's bottom line. Social media also can equal money and more opportunities. So, when people start to get large followings, things the nation, all of a sudden everybody start coming out the woodwork. Hey, how you doing? What's happening? I ain't seen you in a while. And you're like, hey, we all have stories where there are people that may have dissed you, people that you may have been cool with and all that good stuff, and you ain't necessarily got to win the lottery. You ain't necessarily, but when they see you and you looking good and you sitting pretty, and all of a sudden they want to come. What was that line? Nick Minaj once said, "Niggas be mad when they remember all the bad they wish you. Niggas be mad when they can't come and live lavish with you." You see, yeah. You hear what I'm saying? Like, and he was very opportunistic because I'm not sure how long before this. I don't think it ever came out to be how long before this actually aired that Al's mom had passed, but we can assume that it has at least been a couple months, at least. Because if it was just a few weeks ago, it probably wouldn't have been a big issue. But he said, I ain't seen my mom die. And then the first time I go, my says, let's get rich. That's coming from a deep place. So Ern definitely had the opportunity to reach out to his cousin who lost his mom. He had the ability to reach out to his cousin who lost his mom. But he didn't see the value of that connection until he saw his cousin on the rise. Which could also lead, again, to what you said about why you didn't like Dan. One of the reasons why was because out of all the issues and all the problems she saw with Ern, she continued to try to make it work. That's one of your points that you said, right? And that is definitely, he could, and we can see he's opportunistic. He is literally with Van trying to make her happy for a place to stay.
That's what it's giving. It's definitely giving homosexual.
They even had a point where he was like, what do you call homosexual? Yeah, there was a point where he was talking to him, to Al, and Aaron was like, he's like, I'm not real homeless. Like, I don't even understand what real homeless. Do you have a home or not?
And then, speaking of which, you said that when he was at the airport and he was like staring off in his faces, because like, and that's where I feel like he's an opportunist, but then I also feel like he is a person that kind of takes things for granted as well. He's a little spoiled. Whereas he doesn't jump on things until he doesn't feel a need to fight until he's about to lose. And I definitely see that with Van. Now you jumping on this and that to try to hurry up and do something. What have you been doing for the past couple of months, sir? What have you been doing for the past year? Yeah, you might have your trauma and shit going on, but this is what I also noticed, him being attached to hustlers. People who have a hustle get it type of mentality, like you mentioned, Darius. Darius may not be the stereotypical image of successful that most people think of when they hear successful, rich, but we can see from episode 1, low-key, high-key, that Darius is gonna get it by any means necessary. Darius knows 50,000 ways to get a bag, and he may not even look like he got a bag, but he knows 50,000 ways to get the bag. Yep. And he got it. We don't know exactly what all he doing with it, but he got it. You know what I'm saying? Al, he's gonna get it regardless, and he said that, man. I'm doing that shit just because I want to. It's just another stream of income and it's something to do. But he was gonna, sell weed, do whatever it was he needs to do to get the bag. Ern, however, is kind of looking for somebody to save him, looking for something that's already built to jump onto and kind of maximize, if you will. He wants to upgrade something that's already established as opposed to building something from the ground up. And I think there's a place for that, but then there's also like, it's codependency. Definitely codependency. But yeah, I think with all of that being said, we can jump back into viewing it and see what comes up, child.
I think we have too much left.
No, it's like we can like pick back
up. All right. Okay, so that was a lot up in the second half.
We picked it back up at the it was the radio station place where Ern is talking to Dave, white boy Dave.
Oh, let's talk about that. Let us talk about that. I mean, there isn't a whole lot to talk about in this particular scene, but the umbrella, not the umbrella, the elephant in the room.
White boy Dave?
and in particular, his use of the word nigga. Now, we do know there are white people. I actually, at my church, there was these people that I basically grew up with, knew my whole life, considered them family, loved them to death. Found out by some other person that as soon as the door was closed, the father of this family who gave me handshakes, gave me hugs and stuff at church. As soon as he was around closed doors,
He turned into
nigga, nigga,
Trinidad
nigga,
James.
nigga, nigga, niggers.
Now he turned into Trinidad James.
He turned into somebody. So my point of telling that little side story is inside the show. Dave actually is recanting or recalling this story of him and some bad experience with a DJ at this party. And he's talking to Ern, a black guy, and he's just freely talking. And he tells him, in the story, he pulls the guy aside and says, "Really, nigga?" And that wasn't the first time. That wasn't the only time that he used it. During the conversation, he actually said "nigga" again, just freely, as if he was talking to himself or talking to a white friend, or he just literally did not care about disrespecting Ern, or he did not care, or Ern just didn't scare him. Now, immediately after his conversation with Ern, he walks up to three black guys, or it's like two black guys and a Mexican guy, whatever. Brother. Yeah, like he's like, "Hey, bro." And then later on in the show, he has him recall that same story to Paperboy and Darius. To Paperboy and Darius. In which case, he just says, "Really?" instead of "Really, nigga." In which case, we were sitting here like, "Really, nigga?" Like, and that's how people do. You have to be very careful about who you hang around with. There are a lot of people who they'll try you because they don't fear you. And not necessarily because they just don't fear you, they don't respect you. And it's very, very common when when you're dealing with other, I'm not just going to say white people, with other races. So there are a lot of races who they feel just because they're not white, they are entitled to throw nigga around and call anybody a nigga just because they're not white. And what they do that at? But it shows his privilege, or what he really thought of black people, what he thought about Ern, and their entire dynamic. And I didn't like that. I mean, I liked how they depicted it because at the end it was kind of like, you know who to play with, but at the same time, Dave was a square. He was a square. Anything about that particular scene you want to add on?
Absolutely. First of all, I want to point out that Childish Gambino is absolutely an amazing actor.
Oh yeah.
Because I also noticed how he mirrors the people that he's in scenes with, and in particular when he's in scenes with Dave, particularly when he's trying to get something out of him. Also, I see him mirror the safe Negro, stereotypically white facial posture, in which he smiles in a way that projects his upper row of teeth, and it's like a like a goofball.
I can see what you're saying. He's trying to appeal.
Honky tonk, yeah.
He's trying to appeal to him, yeah.
Which also lets you know that Ern knows his stereotype, which is a theme here as well. He knows his stereotype, and he recognizes everybody else's stereotype as well. And we see him exercise that, but particularly in this scene to try to get what he wants out of Dave, which is to play Al's record on the station which he works for. Now, speaking of stereotypes, I think, well, I'm going to have to take what I was fixing to say back. I was going to say I think that Ern kind of played himself a little bit, but at the same time, we find out that no, he didn't. So, I say all of that to say, Dave is carrying himself, particularly with Ern, like he's this big thing around the station. Like, he got all of this power around the station, right? And mind you, we don't ever see KP. Excuse me. So we don't know if KP is black, white, Asian, Puerto Rican, whatever, what have you. We don't know what he is, but we see Dave. So many of us may assume automatically that KP is white because, we're met with the only face of the station that we do have, which is Dave, in the way that he's like talking himself up and carrying himself. And a lot of people are conditioned to see whiteness as richness or power in itself. But what I noticed is Dave carrying a cup holder full of coffee. Dave wearing a lanyard. Dave's attire. Dave is giving DuBois alternate intern.
I was just about to say that.
Dave is giving runner boy, go get us some coffee. Like, because the person that's actually the anchor on the station, or the person that really has all of this power and whatnot, they don't have time to run and get coffee and stand in the parking lot and talk to Ern.
You're right about that. I didn't really pick up on it, but yeah, because he was carrying like 4 coffees in the little carrying tray. He's definitely an intern who's trying to feel like he's more than what he really is.
And the way he switched up when he walked up on the other group
Off,
of
definitely.
black guys, he really code switched. Like they know him.
And during his whole thing, he was explaining when he was like he gets a $500 and then he'll pass the CD on to whatever. Then he was like he doesn't do business like that. I was a little confused because it seemed like, was he giving the $500 to K whoever, or was he keeping it?
So you talking about when he actually went in and did what he did earn?
Like the way Dave was initially, because it seemed like Dave was saying he would get $500 and give the $500 and the money to the guy.
And he's saying like he's the middleman. I'm the guy that you do this with. I'm the guy you go through.
That's what I was thinking, because he was saying, because people were like, well, do you get a cut? He was like, no, I don't have time for that. But at the same time, that's what I'm thinking.
He was gonna take that money and probably wasn't gonna play it because he don't have that power like that.
That's exactly what I was thinking. Like,
And you see, it's not fast, but no, because it happened in the midst of the scene with Al and his daddy. You see when Ern goes in, the janitor lets him in. The janitor named Prince. Lets him in or whatever. You see Ern, he has that money and he shows it to Dave or whatever, and Dave is like, go ahead. But Ern takes it on to KP's door and he slides it. Now, it looked like to me Ern took the money back. He didn't put the money in there. It looked like he slid the disc, but then still held the money. Like when he went in, he held the money up to show Dave, so that no one would be alerted type shit. Like, look, I got the money. Don't fret.
I think the money was in the CD case. Hold on, wait. We hear y'all.
And he gave him the money and the CD. But either way, he went past Dave and gave it straight to KP.
So it's safe to say Dave was probably taking all that money. Dave was
before, yeah.
He was like, "Oh, that ain't about me. I got too much stuff to do." If anybody ever gave money, because no one ever interacted directly through KP, he wasn't doing it just out of his own benefit. And that entire practice is called there's a thing you can go through called payola, but that is kind of like under the table stuff. That is actually illegal.
Yeah,
it is actually very illegal to actually do. I would bet that Dave was taking everybody's money, even though he was acting like he didn't have no time.
And he probably wasn't even playing the records.
Probably wouldn't. I bet.
Because thinking about it too, just to kind of like expand that ideal, if he's an intern, he's probably not getting paid
at all. That's another reason why I was thinking,
especially at a radio station. He's probably like interning at a radio station is hit or miss with whether you getting paid or not type shit. Other places they may pay their interns, but radio stations, every radio station don't pay their interns. Go get coffee.
Right.
You play what we tell you to play. So yeah, that was probably Dave's hustle. We seen everybody else's hustle. That was probably Dave's hustle. Playing up his stereotype, using his privilege to get hustling as local rappers to give him $500+ for him to act like he gonna play that shit and then not
really
play that shit. And I feel like that's kind of Childish Gambino in a way answering the question as to why is all this trash? Why is there never anything new on the what's the name? Will.
Is that, you know what?
There you go.
You got your answer really right there. Yeah, he was just taking everybody's money, and then saw how at the end when he met them in the parking lot, and he was like KP. He was like KP was upset that you did that. How did you even get in? And then Ern came back where he obviously wasn't that upset because he played it on the track.
And I'm like, you the one saying upset with this passive aggression.
Exactly. He was never giving people the stuff he didn't have the power to. He was just taking niggas' money, like you said. I believe that's what it was.
Sis, child, sis. I want to talk a little bit about the janitor, Prince, because I kind of noticed there was some rat symbolism that came up earlier where, Ern was saying he's partially homeless, he's not using a rat for a phone and all this and that, and Darius started talking about this weird ass way that you could like use rats as phones and all that shit. But I notice people tend to use rats also when they are making a parallel between impoverished or oppressed people as well. The way rats are perceived and treated in correlation with how impoverished or oppressed groups are perceived and treated as well. And on top of this black man, being a black man in society and being a janitor at a radio station, we can imagine, how people approach him, or if they even approach him at all, probably step past him, act like he's something, nasty. You know how people tend to treat people that work in sanitation and things of that nature. You even see it in his response when Ern actually said something to him and asked him his name, treated him like a human.
He kind of lit up.
On top of the fact that his name is Prince. And not just thinking about the singer Prince, but Prince being a status of royalty, the name of royalty, but he's a black man in the society and he's a janitor. And a lot of people don't realize how much power custodians actually have. He was able to let Earn into the building because he got the key.
Which, I'm glad that you brought that up because, and when at the end when Dave actually asked him like, "How did you get in?" and Earn did responded, he was like, "It's about who you know." A lot of times, who you know does not have to be the boss. It does not have to be the VP. It does not have to be the person who's running. Yeah, like it don't have to be the person who's running, running things. It's the lower man, because no matter how you look at it, every business, every idea, anything that was successful, it is only successful. It only stays successful by the people at the very bottom that do their jobs to allow it to float. During the one thing, like during the pandemic, one of the biggest things, one of the most important people were custodians, were janitors, and even still, even though the pandemic, where I guess we're technically still in the pandemic or whatever, like hospitals, people that work at schools, the people that pick up trash, if they stopped, we stopped. And this guy, he represented for this business the lowest that you can go, because you have the boss, you have the managers and VP, you have the people, the DJs, and then really the lowest tier outside of the intern would be the custodians. And you wouldn't think if I needed to get something done to ask the custodian, but the custodian, the person that is seen as the bottom tier, he was the one that ultimately allowed Earn the access to get what he needed done. Had he had the money and had he gone through Dave, chances are it would have just hit a brick wall. Chances.
White ain't always right.
It ain't always right. And it is definitely who you know. And I've heard the term a lot of times, be very friendly with the cleaning crews, the custodians.
They know everything.
They know everything. In times like this, I know it's just a television show, but in real life scenarios, the people with the keys, when you always think of people with the keys, you always think of like the boss and the managers. But remember, there are people at the bottom who also got them keys too. You gotta look everywhere. And they're the ones, you have their back, they'll have your back. I like how they put that one in there. And I love how I'm really loving how they use the custodian. Like, it literally is, and I don't want to be disrespectful, not sound disrespectful, but it literally was the bottom, the quote unquote the bottom, the lowest that you can go as far as the tier of the show. And not saying there's anything wrong with the custodians. We love you, we need you.
The hierarchy.
Yeah, it's just how everything is leveled up there. The custodian, the person who seems they would have the least amount of power, he became his saving grace. And I love that point.
Absolutely, yes. And so we then we flash over to Al and Darius pulling up to Riley and Mama Gloria, Earn's parents, over there to talk to them about Earn, saying Earn wants to be his manager, basically touching base to see is this nigga okay? Should I go with this? What is it giving? And this is kind of what we was just talking about. When Earn was there, they were giving him a hard ass time. When you speaking highly on him to Al, as it concerns, him wanting to be his manager and this and that, and basically saying that, in so many words, saying that Earn is determined when he wants to be. He's steadfast when he wants to be.
Yeah.
He can get shit done when he really puts his mind to it, when he really wants to. That's something that he really wants to do. And with that being said, I'm just so why not constantly speak that life into him? Why not constantly remind him, hey, you can do it. You can do that shit when you want to. Remember all the times you did that shit when you really wanted to? Instead of, and I know parents are human and everything, you get irritated, but you can still follow up with, look, you can still do that shit if you want to. You fucking up right now. You get on my goddamn nerves. I need you to flush the toilet when you leave. But listen, you got this shit. You got this shit because you come from me and we got this shit. You got this shit. Reaffirm your people.
You
instead of just trying to talk down on them and talk about everything that they do wrong all the damn time. Because that is also an act of taking people for granted. You always want to say what's wrong and what they do, they get on your nerves, and what they do that you don't like and all this and shit. Okay, what about what they can do? Because if you keep, speaking negatively of them, that's all you gonna see.
That's all you gonna see. When you for parents, like she was saying, you have to reaffirm the good things in your child for them. A lot of times with parents, they act like they don't care. They talk about them anyhow. When they talk to them, they yell at them for being children. That is one thing that's always driven me crazy. You yell at your child for being a child. They're babies, they're toddlers, they're preteens, they're teenagers. They're going to do things like you have done things, but they, when parents, when they're just discriminate, they speak all these essentially curses upon their children. They're cursing their children. You get on my nerves. You ain't doing nothing right. When they get in front of people, oh yeah, there's my child's so smart. He's so good at art. He's doing good in school because you want to look good. But as soon as the door is closed, you get on my nerves. You ain't doing this. You
stupid.
You stupid.
Ain't like nothing right.
Oh my gosh.
And it's like your earn is an adult now, but even still, like it doesn't matter how old you get. For one, your parents will always be older to you, and heavy is the head that wears the crown. Shit, like I was talking to folks about Nikki the other day. Nobody's age shaming her. It's just reminding her, hey, you have the seniority, lead by example.
There's a whole lot that we can talk about.
But as it concerns, earn and like being a child in the dynamic with your parents, no matter how old you get, you're gonna always need or at least long for at least the emotional support more than anything, honestly. Yeah, providing once you get to a certain age, you shouldn't have to rely on your parents for the physical things so much. And that's where it becomes even more important when you get older for your parents to know how to support you on an emotional level.
Yes.
Because you need that more than anything the older you get, especially in those 20-somethings, those 30-somethings, because you are trying to figure it the fuck out. It's a brand new chapter of your life. Like I said, you was just in high school the other day. The front part of your brain just formed last week. You know what I'm saying? You still need that emotional support as you go through the different changes. You need that reaffirmation from people who have already been through all of that to let you know, hey, you can come out on the other side the same way we came out on the other side, probably even better, because look at all these options you got here now. And so I feel like, you know what I'm saying, they dropped the ball with Earn, and that's where I wanted Van to shut the fuck up. Earn is on the bus with Lottie. Lottie is knocked out. And they both had their earphones on and this, that, and the third. Earn looks up, and it's this guy, this tall, light-skinned guy with a whole suit on, talking about, you look like you got a lot on your mind, talk to me, this and that, and the third. Earn starts talking about he's sick of losing, and some people just meant to lose, and all this and that. Tall, light-skinned brother pulls out Nutella like a lady pulling keys and snacks and shit out of her bra. Like, he just whips out the Nutella out the side of his jacket and starts making a sandwich. I guess we're gonna call it a sandwich. I guess as long as you put a little bit of anything between two pieces of bread, it makes a sandwich. But he didn't put that much Nutella on the bread.
Not at all. I noticed that. That actually annoyed me. It was like the knife had like a little scoop, and he just.
It looked like a skid mark, like a pretty plentiful skid mark, but a skid mark nonetheless. Like, look at him, just barely spreading it on.
Barely.
Child, and then to put the bread. It's some Nutella toast. It's not toasted. Some Nutella raw toast with another piece of raw toast just put on top of it, and they called it a sandwich.
Which he got all of these items out of nowhere.
Just out of nowhere.
Because he wasn't carrying any bags when he walked up. All of a sudden, you just saw him with a Nutella jar.
No, now I did see him reach into the side of the jacket and pull out the Nutella jar, but everything else.
Even then, it's weird.
Yes. Everything else though was just like, okay, which I'm gonna get to what I think was going on, but when he tells him that the tall light skinned brother, he gives him like this quote that says like what he say? Child.
Resistance
is a symptom to the way things are, which reminded me of Darius again, because like we said, he is, while everybody else seems to be in the moment, he's in the moment, but just in a different way, like kind of on a different wavelength of the moment. And I feel like everybody else is in the moment trying to change what is. Like, for instance, with the Big Bang situation, Earn is trying to talk Al off the ledge. He know that's not gonna happen. Al is trying to get money off of the nigga that broke his mirror. He know that's not gonna happen. The nigga that broke his mirror was just on some bullshit. He just looking for a problem, apparently. Everybody is in the moment, but they're trying to change what is. Whereas Darius is just like, what did dog get?
Right.
It's in the right place. That's exactly where it was supposed to be. That's exactly where I saw it. Oh,
still
right here.
About
That's how I see it. Because once you see so many times that something is the way it is, don't keep trying to force it. Don't keep trying to force blood out of a turnip. Change yourself. Adapt yourself. And what's meant to follow will follow. And that is like some heavy spirituality shit. Like that's a grand concept of spirituality, leading by example, and you know what I'm saying? Let shit fall where it may. That's called faith, and that's low key, high key what the tall light skinned brother is talking about in his quote, resistance is a symptom to the way things are. You're gonna naturally have questions, but you got to allow it to, like you said, allow it to push you like a branch, like a broken branch in the river's current. Understand that you're gonna be okay regardless. Understand that you're gonna have a place to belong regardless. And something else he said in the quote was, victory belongs to those that don't see failure. And that ties again with what I said about Darius earlier. Like, yeah, he's not the stereotypical sense or idea of success, but it's clear that he doesn't see failure. He's gonna get it by any means necessary. Mm-hmm. And no matter where he is, no matter who's around, he's successful. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so that's what also makes me feel like he's kind of an alternate version of Earn. Well, he's that awkward black guy, but he allows it to push him like a broken branch through the river's current.
That's interesting. Like, that's definitely a topic.
This is a dream. I feel like Earn fell asleep on the bus, and I feel like that man was on the bus. But you know how you can fall asleep somewhere and you have a dream of the people that are around you, mm-hmm. and you like hearing and experiencing all that shit in your dream, and you like, why is this person in my dream? Because they like right there, and they probably are saying something to you, but they may not be saying exactly what they saying in the dream, but you dreaming of them because they're right there. You seeing them in your dream because they are literally around you. Or you fall asleep with the TV on, and now you having dreams with the people from Power or whatever in your dream, and y'all could be on a roller coaster or some shit, but you on the roller coaster with people from Power.
I've had a dream one time. You remember that song "Grazing in the Grass" that Raven Simone redid for Disney Channel? I had a dream once that me and Raven were dancing over a pond, and every time we landed, it turned into gold. Well. And I thought it was crazy, but yeah, the song "Grazing in the Grass" was on TV. He went off asleep, so that can happen. You can, what you're hearing from people around you and your surrounding environment can definitely impact your dreams. That is interesting. I'll accept that one. I'll accept that one. Okay, it could have been a dream.
Yeah, I feel like it was a dream, and I feel like, you know, I don't know if that quote that he said, that was God talking to him through his dream, or if that's something that he had heard in class or some shit when he was in school or whatever, what have you. But I also feel like the sandwich part, that was giving me both like a drink the Kool-Aid type thing, but, and like I said, I ain't gonna talk too much about one, you know, this season is, you know, from a child standpoint, a Nutella sandwich, you know, has a different value than it does when you're an adult, of course. So as an adult, you're probably like,
it was a weird aspect.
You couldn't get me to say, right? But as a child, you know, a child would view that differently. That's probably, that would be like kind of a simple pleasure for a child. It's a chocolatey sandwich. You know, that's kind of my theory. My theoretic question is that sandwich attached to something concerning Ernest's childhood that we haven't been blatantly introduced to yet.
I can kind of say I'm interested in learning more about that too, because it was such a weird. It was a very weird aspect, and it was very specific. True. To add in there. I mean, he could have just pulled out a sandwich or anything, but he actually pulled out Nutella. Yeah, all the utensils. He pulled out bread and he made a sandwich, a Nutella sandwich. Well, not that much Nutella, but he made a sandwich in front of him. So him making the sandwich and then the actual ingredients for making a Nutella sandwich, it sounded like it could be something specific, something that was direct to Earn. And maybe it's something they explain later on that we probably missed. We probably
and also Earn is not. We've gotten many confirmation that Earn is not expressive, but he's expressing himself to this random person on the bus. So that's another thing that made me feel like it was a dream. And then on top of the fact that this man literally pulled Nutella and sandwich bread out of his ass.
Out of nowhere.
Yeah, just like in a dream. It's like, voila, goddamn. I don't know where they got it from, but he had a sandwich. And like, that's how it happened. It happened like a dream. And then for the siren to happen, and you see Earn jerk. Now, it looks like, of course, the way they shot it, it looks like he just jerked to look to the side and see what is going on. Mm-hmm. But to me, looking at it from the perspective of it being a dream, it looks like he was awakened by the sounds of the siren. And the bus stopped, and he could have, like I said, could have very well been on the bus and just got off at that stop, and then you see he's walking with the Texas dog. Mm.
That was the Texas dog?
Yeah, he had the Texas on his butt. Yeah, that was the Texas dog.
You know, I saw the dog, but I didn't put the two and two together. It was the same dog. So the shooting hadn't happened at this point.
That's when he was on the bus, and Al called him after that, because he was fixing to send a text message to Van, and then Al called him after that, and then he goes over to where they are, and then...
So then Darius had the deja vu about the dog being there.
Yes.
So the dog was present before the beginning of the show actually happened. Huh. Mm-hmm. That's interesting.
Very much so. Very much so. And it's so many, because I was just thinking to say too, it's so many tie-ins with Darius in that scene, and he's not even in that scene. He's not mentioned in that scene or nothing, but it's so many like hints of Darius and tie-ins and parallels of Darius in that scene with the Nutella man, but Darius is not even in that scene. But interesting, you did just bring that to my attention though. I pinpointed, yeah, they're at the same place, but Aaron saw that dog before the shooting. Because, we saw the shooting before all that, they went back earlier to that day. So, like, yeah.
That is interesting. I want to do a little research on it just to see what was the purpose of that. Because, and also, because Darius had something to do with, Darius wasn't there, but why didn't Aaron recognize the dog? You would think if anybody, Aaron would be like, there's the dog from earlier. Did he say something like that?
He was like so focused on trying to, and that goes back to what I said, like he was so focused on trying to diffuse the situation that it probably didn't even occur to him that that's that dog. Because he was so taken aback, and when you first wake up type shit, looking at it from the perspective of it being a dream, you first wake up, you can't hardly, put together exactly what's what. But yeah, very, very, very interesting. But now to really wrap up on the reoccurrence of this here shooting that happened at the beginning, they cut it off at the end, but we know what happened type shit. That I was thinking that the man was just being a butt and kicked his mirror off, but no. Al had been trying. It's a girl that walks by the car. Al was trying to get at her. She was like, "Shut the fuck up, bitch," or some shit like that. And he was like, "Fuck you, you ain't that cute, no way." Da 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 da. Moments later, here her dude come through. That was her dude. So that was her dude come back through, kick his daggone mirror down.
So yeah, he came in with her. He was like, "Yo, that's me on the radio," and she was like, "You ugly bitch."
Like she's like, "I don't give a fuck, bitch."
Yeah, like she really.
She realized now.
Like she cut him deep, like. And I mean, I ain't gonna necessarily say for no reason, but I wouldn't say that was an appropriate response. But basically, like, leave me alone,
I mean, I guess she was trying to really let her nigga know that she wasn't interested in this other.
Because obviously he was close by to hear the conversation.
Yeah,
because he went that far. She didn't go tell him what happened. Not for that quickness of what happened. He heard.
He just so happened to see it.
So, but she like, yeah. So he said, you ain't that good looking either, you broad, or something like that. Yeah. And then her man came and kicked. Oh, so yeah. So that tied back into the front. Huh. I would agree with you on that. I know with the mirrors. Because mirrors, the rearview mirror on the driver's side is to, see behind you, see threats as they're coming towards you. And it's interesting that the way the episode was shown, you saw what happened prior to, before you got to the beginning. So you were actually able to see everything that happened behind before you actually got to the conclusion. And which could be a tie-in with the symbolism of him kicking off the side, the rearview mirror, the side view mirror.
Nobody saw it coming.
Nobody saw it coming. There could be a tie-in to that's interesting.
And nobody saw that dude. Nobody saw him. Like, he was talking to the girl. I'm sure. Like, we didn't see him. He wasn't in the camera frame. None of that shit. So I'm sure. And then the nigga probably was like, "Nigga, you don't see me in your privy."
Right, like get on somewhere.
So yeah. So throw it out there. I think. Baby, we milked this cow.
We did. Like,
okay.
We talked about everything on this from the rooty to the tootie.
Right, and honestly, we might can appreciate the
vibe. So, y'all, look, we appreciate y'all who are watching. We want y'all to like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification button.
We thank y'all and hope y'all enjoyed it.
Yes.
Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Hit the bell button so you get the notifications.
And make sure y'all follow all of our links to the bottom. That's for Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, everything we got down there. TikTok, follow us. And we got you.
Be sure to bless the comment section with your questions and conversations, because there's a lot of conversations to be had and a lot that we had. So let us know that you agree with the stuff that we said, what you had to say. Anything. You had some of the things that you saw that we ain't see. Or let us know something. Let us know something.
Let us know your theories, your thoughts, and your comments.
Indubitably.
And
as always, we bid you all light, love, healing, and liberation. Emphasis on liberation. Peace.
Peace.